pristine forests, crystal lakes, and air pollution. It sounds almost impossible, right? When you think of America's national parks, you probably imagine untouched wilderness, endless blue skies, and the freshest air you could ever hope to breathe. These are the places we go to escape the hustle and bustle of city life, to reconnect with nature and to fill our lungs with what we assume is the purest air on the planet. But what if I told you that the reality is a little more complicated and a lot more surprising than you might expect? Believe it or not, your next hike might come with a side of smog. That's right, while you're out there soaking up the views and snapping photos, you could also be breathing in air that's not as clean as you'd hope. In fact, some days the air quality in certain national parks can rival that of major cities. It's a hidden problem that most visitors never even realize, but it's one that can have real impacts on your health and your experience in the great outdoors. When we picture national parks, most of us imagine taking a deep breath of the cleanest air on Earth. It's almost a ritual. You step out of your car, stretch your legs, and fill your lungs with that crisp, invigorating mountain air. It feels like a reset button for your body and mind. But what if that breath isn't as pure as you think? What if, hidden in that invisible mix, are pollutants that could irritate your lungs, trigger allergies, or even pose risks for people with asthma or other health conditions? But here's the plot twist. Some of America's most famous parks, like Yosemite and Sequoia, actually have air that flunks the freshness test. These aren't just isolated cases either. Parks that are world-renowned for their beauty and biodiversity are sometimes plagued by air quality issues that would surprise even the most seasoned outdoor enthusiasts. In fact, the National Park Service has been monitoring air quality for decades, and the results are often eye-opening. Pause for effect. So how does this happen? How can a place that's miles away from the nearest city end up with air that's anything less than perfect? The answer lies in the way pollution travels. Air doesn't respect park boundaries or state lines. It moves with the wind, carrying with it all sorts of particles and chemicals from far-off sources. This means that even the most remote parks can be affected by pollution generated hundreds of miles away. How's that even possible? Well, it turns out pollution likes to travel. The air we breathe in national parks is part of a much larger system, one that's influenced by weather patterns, geography, and human activity across entire regions. For example, a factory in a distant city might release pollutants that get picked up by the wind and carried for days, eventually settling over a national park that seems on the surface to be completely isolated from civilization. Cities and factories miles away send dirty air drifting right into the parks. It's not just industrial pollution either. Vehicle emissions, agricultural activities, and even household products can contribute to the mix. All of these sources release pollutants like nitrogen oxides and volatile organic compounds, which can react in the atmosphere to form ground-level ozone and fine particulate matter, two of the most common and harmful types of air pollution found in national parks. That means ground-level ozone, the bad kind, can spike way above safe levels, especially in the summer when heat and sunlight cook up even more smog. Ozone at ground level isn't the protective layer we hear about in the upper atmosphere. Down here, it's a lung irritant that can make it harder to breathe, especially for children, the elderly, and anyone with respiratory issues. On hot, sunny days, the combination of pollutants and weather can create a perfect storm for poor air quality, even in places that look absolutely stunning. And don't forget wildfires. In recent years, wildfires have become more frequent and intense, fueled by hotter, drier conditions linked to climate change. When these fires burn, they release massive amounts of smoke and fine particles into the air, which can travel for hundreds of miles and linger for days or even weeks. This smoke doesn't just affect the immediate area, it can blanket entire regions, turning blue skies gray and making it dangerous to spend time outdoors. All that smoke adds an extra punch to the pollution cocktail. Wildfire smoke contains a complex mix of gases and tiny particles that can penetrate deep into your lungs, causing everything from eye irritation and coughing to more serious health problems like asthma attacks and heart issues. Even if you're miles away from the flames, you can still feel the effects of the smoke, especially if you're visiting a park during fire season. In fact, some parks have had to close trails, cancel ranger programs, or even evacuate visitors because the air was simply too dangerous to breathe. It's a stark reminder that even in the most beautiful places, we're not immune to the impacts of pollution and climate change. And as wildfires become more common, these kinds of disruptions are likely to happen more often. In 2023, over 40% of parks had at least one day with air that was unhealthy, even for nature lovers like us. That's a staggering statistic when you consider how many people visit these parks each year, hoping for a breath of fresh air and a break from city pollution. On those days, the air quality index can reach levels that are considered unsafe for sensitive groups, and sometimes even for the general public. It's a wake-up call for all of us who cherish these wild places. So what can you do? The good news is, there are steps you can take to protect yourself and your loved ones, even when the air isn't perfect. Park rangers are a great resource. They can tell you about current conditions, suggest safer trails, or recommend the best times of day to be outside. And with a little planning, you can still have an amazing experience, even on days when the air quality isn't ideal. Before you hit the trails, check an air quality app like Air Now. These apps use real-time data from monitoring stations all over the country to give you up-to-date information about air quality in your area or in the park you're planning to visit. You can see forecasts, get alerts, and make informed decisions about when and where to hike, camp, or explore. It's a simple step that can make a big difference in your safety and enjoyment. And if you really want that pure mountain air, head to the wildest, most remote parks you can find. The farther you get from major cities, highways, and industrial areas, the better your chances of finding truly clean air. Parks in Alaska, the Northern Rockies, or the remote deserts of the Southwest often have some of the best air quality in the country. It's a great excuse to explore new places and discover hidden gems that aren't on every tourist's radar. There's nothing quite like the feeling of breathing in truly fresh air, surrounded by towering trees, rushing rivers, and the sounds of wildlife. It's a reminder of why we protect these places and why clean air matters, not just for us, but for the plants and animals that call these parks home. Every breath connects us to the natural world, and every visit is a chance to appreciate just how precious that connection is. Fresh air isn't a guarantee, but hey, now you know the real story. The next time you plan a trip to a national park, you'll be armed with the knowledge to make the most of your adventure, no matter what the air quality looks like. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be inspired to help protect these incredible places for future generations, so that everyone can enjoy a breath of truly fresh air. Like, share, and subscribe for more nature surprises. And remember, every action you take, whether it's learning about air quality, supporting clean air initiatives, or simply spreading the word, helps keep our parks wild, beautiful, and healthy for everyone. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the hidden world of air in America's national parks. Until next time, breathe easy and keep exploring.